Yes. Oh my God, I'm so excited, Tonya. And I cannot wait to chat with you today because I know, based on our lives and other podcast stuff that we've done in the past, that this is going to be a really juicy convo. So, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Yeah. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, you're
The
good. You're good.
going on over here?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm so super excited. Listen, it's been I mean, there's like a gajillion things legit we could talk about because the energies of what's going on right now with the ascension, with the shifts we're all making, and the shadow work, and the upgrades, and the downloads, and the awakenings, and the blah. Just pick a topic.
Put them on a checklist and let's fucking get going. Oh my God, right?
Right? I know, right?
And it's so like, and I love that you brought that up in a like in an eclectic mix of conversation because this is what we're dealing with right now.
No
Those
doubt,
of
right?
us that have chosen this light worker, star seed, light warrior energy in this life are getting fucking hit with a whole bunch of stuff.
Crazy ass shit. I'm like, okay, can we make that an acronym? CAS. Yeah. CAS today. Crazy ass shit. Yeah, that's my life.
And I know that you've been through like dynamic shifts over the last even 6 months. Never mind all the 20 plus years you've been
Oh my
doing
God.
mediumship and spiritual awakening work. Like I'm about 14 years in. You've got like, what is it? It's 20. I remember you said this
Yeah,
before
like
then.
20, almost 30, actually. I'm
Yes.
a little bit older than you, sister.
Not too much though. You just have to be awakened
Like 10 years
quicker.
older than you.
Awakened quicker than me. But this is like it's all those 30 years almost combined into like such a potency that we're moving through that shit's hitting the fan for a lot of people. Would you say that you agree?
Legit.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
AF.
Yeah.
Yes. Give me another thing. Absolutely 100%. Shit is getting real. Shit
Yeah.
is getting real. It's about to go down. And the funny thing is like, I was just thinking about this. Well, I think probably because I like shoot this stuff to you all the time. I'm like, I see something funny in a meme, or I'm like, oh my God, this is going on in the ascension, or this is going on in the energy. And I'm like, who's going to understand this? I'm like, Colleen. So I'm like,
Send it
send it to
over.
Colleen really quick. It'll be like 10 a.m. I'm like sending her memes. I'm like, she's going to be like, Jesus Christ, leave me alone. No. Yeah, I'm
I
trying to
love it.
sleep. No. But I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, there are so few people that really in my world that get what the fuck is going on. Like my
Yes.
husband doesn't get it. My friends don't get it. My family sure as shit doesn't get it. Right. So when I talk about the energies coming in, I have like a couple of friends like you and some online friends and friends in my space and spiritual friends who are aware and are like, oh no, we're here for it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like the energy, the ascension energies that are coming in and the shifts that are happening and everything is like coming to a head.
Yes.
Right. And that's what we're going through right now.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is coming to a head.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like it gets darkest before the dawn.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It gets worse before it gets better.
You got to break down before you break
The
through.
phrase.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
The shadow has to come up to be healed into the light. So that's exactly what's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
And with Saturn going into Pisces, and I knew this was going to happen, and it was kind of like I was bracing myself for it, right? Because I'm like, it's going to get really interesting, and how is this going to affect the population and the collective of people who are still sleeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so much fear.
Yes.
There is so much fear. Oh my
So much
God.
fear.
And I just like, I'm like, please don't. And I can't, I mean, how do you convince somebody not to be afraid?
I
Right.
know. I
It's
know.
really hard
It is.
because I actually, one of my clients the other day was like, oh my God, the banks are closing and I don't know what to do. And I'm really scared. I'm like, whoa, girl, take a chill pill. It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. It's going to be fine. I'm like, it's not the apocalypse. It's not the end times. I'm like, it's not the end of the world. I said, that part of the Bible is completely misinterpreted. I said, so let's take a breath. Besides
Yes.
reality, right? What have you been experiencing?
Oh my God. Like it's definitely been an interesting time and a lot of self-worth, doubt is moving through the collective. So I think that it's like it's almost like we have this contained in a box and the elite and all the people trying to literally keep us diminished in our light are like, let's just fucking get this doubt moving through the energy so that they all can't fucking lean in their purity of light. Because if you doubt yourself, you're leaning into shadow. therefore you can't fully illuminate, right? And I'm watching it, like this self-worth and doubt show up so consistently over the last even just week. So never mind like all the other stuff 6 months ago that we were dealing with then. It's like this layer of it moving through.
It's like a new wave.
New wave.
It's like a new wave of shit.
Yeah, and it's deep,
Those
right?
fuckers.
It's deep, and it's not
They're
even
like,
just
how
this
can we
life.
thwart the light?
Yeah, seriously. And it's not even just this life, right? It's all of our past lives are coming up to purge. Like everything
Yes,
is
all of it,
dropping in.
everything,
Yeah.
everything. And that's why I keep telling people, I'm like, even people who totally don't get it,
Yeah.
who like my husband doesn't have a clue. When I start talking about ascension, he's like blank expression, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, listen, just
Yeah.
understand this.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be having a lot of experiences of old feelings, old hurts, old trauma wounds coming up, old pains that's probably going to come to the surface again. You're going to like remember things like maybe memories, things from your past that really hurt you, upset you, that really just are coming up because there's time right now that the earth is shifting and all this stuff has to come up because it has to be healed for us to merge into that next level of consciousness as a collective. And it's happening whether you want it to or not. So you don't have a choice. And it's happening for everybody, everybody. You cannot escape. Don't even try. Suck it up, buttercup. Shit's getting real.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say. All of your shadow is going to come to the surface. And that's what I've been telling everybody. So it's like, I see it already starting. And Saturn just entered Pisces, like what, last week? And it's already starting already. Like not just in my own clients, but like in my husband, in my children, in my family. And I'm starting to see it. I'm like, oh my God, it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse.
It's only going to get worse. Thank you for that. So
and
I
then
just
you
got a
see it in the
download.
collective and in the politics and all that stuff. And I'm like, it's only gonna get worse. So I'm telling everybody, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Don't be afraid. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah. So let's lean into that because I think this is a really juicy like endeavor we can move into is so we know this is coming. We know we're starting to see it. We know the shadow is going to be running rampant in the world. We know the narratives outside of it, never mind even inside, like even outside of the space and the fear.
It's like it's bad enough dealing with your own stuff,
never mind everything else, right? Now, like I live in Costa Rica, so I'm a little bit contained here. Like I am kind of in a safe space, which I purposely chose, I think, but I also can be in purity of light to hold more light for those that are in countries that are going to get darker. Not to say it won't here, because obviously all the energy in the world is going to be shifting at the same time. But we're going through this shadow dynamic within us, right? And it's got to come up to be healed so we can move through. What are some like key dynamics that people can lean into to move through this? Because I know in your coaching style, and although you do a lot more relationship, sacred union, and inside of us healing the dynamic, but like I'd love to just hear what your perspective is on this. Because
100%. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because mostly I work with people with relationships, but the thing is, it's like, I do. It's like two separate baskets, if you will. Like I do relationship counseling coaching for couples, but then I also work with individuals, and that aspect is more healing, right? Healing what's within you, that's the wound, right? In order to be able to heal and grow and be able to attract that soulmate relationship. So yes, I do delve in the realm of relationship. However, for those of us right now who are going into this, who might be listening to this, there are some things you can do to like really energetically, you've got to stay on top of your game. Like I cannot stress the importance enough to you that you have got to move your energy. You have got to, because shadow work is intense. It's intense. And for those of us who've done shadow work on purpose, had the luxury of being able to step in when we wanted to and step out when we wanted to. You're not going to have that chance. You're going to be forced to face it, right? And that's not pleasant. That's not pleasant. It's like a little ripping off the Band-Aid, right? You know, we got a chance to like gradually peel it when we wanted to because we did it intentionally when we were ready. And those people who are just like out in the world, it's going to be like that ripping of the Band-Aid off. It's going to be like, right? And you're going to be forced to face it. And that can be fucking uncomfortable. So first and foremost, take care of yourself. No, you're not crazy. You're not going crazy. Yes, expect that things are going to come up for you. Things are going to come up in your family. Things are going to come up in your relationships, in the dynamics with your friends and the coworkers. Every single relationship you have, if there's any kind of trauma or wound or conflict, it will come up to the surface. Every single thing that is considered third density, anything from the heart chakra down. So we're talking anything that has to do with the will, anything that has to do with emotion, anything that has to do with stability, any of that stuff in your relationships is all going to come up to be healed. Mm-hmm. So what can you do? Take care of your body. Know that this is coming. Recognize that this is happening. You can't escape it. So don't even try. Don't fight against it. It's just going to make it worse. Allow it to move through you. Recognize that these are just emotions that are being released. It has to be released to be healed because we are literally shifting vibration. Like our bodies are entering a higher state of being. Mm-hmm. Our DNA is changing. We are actually turning into partial light beings. I mean, it's not going to happen for a long time, but I mean, we're moving that direction. Yeah. So, I mean, you have to understand that we are shifting. Things are changing. This is not just like woo woo, blah, blah, you know, oh yeah, that's nice that you believe that. No, this is like legit happening energy wise, right? It's happening. Yeah. It's the second coming. When people talk about the coming of Christ, yes, it's the coming of Christ consciousness. And to shift into that consciousness, we have to eradicate the shadow. Yes. Which means you have to heal it. So it has to come out. So take care of yourself. Be aware that it's there. Do the best you can to work with your triggers and don't push it down. When it comes up and you're triggered, look at it. Look at it. Look at it. Why do I feel this way? Why am I triggered? What about this person is making me feel this way? And get out of your ego as much as you can because your ego is going to try to flip that shit on you and make it your fault. So get out of your ego and realize your ego's job is only to blame other people or to make you feel guilty. So don't listen to your ego. That's not who you are. You are not your ego. So literally look at your trigger, look at it for what it is, have compassion for yourself and be like, okay, this is happening because I was either taught something, it was a pattern, it's a wound, it's something that needs to be healed. Surrender it to the divine. If you need help and support, reach out. There are so many light workers right now who are out here who can help you. There's a million people. I can't help you. I know plenty of people who can, and I will always refer people to other people who can help. So just know that you're not alone. Yeah. It's going to feel like shit. Yeah. And yes, we're all going to just have to deal with it, but please take care of yourself. Recognize your triggers if you can. Give yourself compassion. Don't make yourself guilty. Don't blame other people because the healing has to happen. And the healing happens when you take away the blame, you take away the guilt, you just see it for what it is and realize that, oh, we were just acting out of our state of consciousness. We didn't know any better at the time. Nobody's really hurt here because this is all just an illusion and it's all temporary. The true self is the I am presence that is within you. Yes. And that's it. So nobody's really being harmed. So if you can breathe into that, call on spirits present for help, call on your angels, your guides, whatever, however you choose to see spirit, and ask for help. It's such an imperative one. And I think this is the hardest part I feel for a lot of us is that surrender, because we've been conditioned to think that we actually have control, you know? And the more we lean into that control and trying to force something in, the more disconnected we become to the actual mission and our light in this world. And it's the hardest thing, I think, for a lot of us. Like that was the hardest part for me, was the trust and surrender and dropping in. And because my ego was like, you know, everything, like you can do this on your own, you know, like I'm like, spiritual ego is a bitch.
I know.
Oh my God. And it sneaks in every way possible. I'm like, really? Bastard. You catch yourself following down that line of thinking and all of a sudden you're like, damn, got me again.
Yeah, seriously. Right. And I'm just like, shit. And it was interesting. I got tested on this literally over the weekend when I was back in Ontario with my obviously twin flame. And I definitely want to ask you some questions about this because I think that the twin flame, I know I was fucking with him again, right? Like I was with him at his house again. Fucker. I just went like, I'm like in it for the like apparently.
This goes back a ways for people who don't know what's going on, but
yeah. Oh my God.
I know about this is a long story.
Very long story. But in my last podcast, I did my solo episode on it about you don't need permission. And something was saying to me to go to his place on the Saturday, like something, and I know why, because he literally tested my power. He told me how fake I was and how I was manipulating people. And I know it was really good. It was really fucking good, right? It was so good that I was like, and while he was talking to me about this, I first went, is this my truth? Like inside. And I never would have done this before. I would have taken
Oh
it on
no, you're
and
like,
owned
you
it and
motherfucker.
surrendered and all that stuff, right? I would have just fucking thought he was the God on the pedestal. And he poked into me and I went, this isn't my truth. I know who I am and the power I'm moving through. And he can't handle it now because I'm way over here. And although
Yeah, you
he's
are.
seen these dimensions now of me on Facebook and on Instagram that he's never seen except for maybe in the bedroom, just us. And now I'm sharing all of me to the world, like not all of me, but enough of me to the world in my purity of light, where he's like, you're being so fake. I'm like, this is actually who I really am. And when we dated, like you never saw a lot of this the way that I'm showing it now because I didn't know who the fuck I was and I was hiding behind
Right.
500 million masks, right?
100%.
But I understood. So the trigger, like you just mentioned about this, and I went, he normally would trigger me, and I went, this isn't my truth. And I took my power right back by
Good
saying to
for you.
him, you have no idea who the fuck I am anymore. And just because you're perceiving something doesn't mean that that's who I really am. So your lenses that you're
100%.
looking through are your fucking lenses. And you can keep those lenses over there because I'm looking through mine and they're pure. And I know who I work with. I know what I'm all about. And it was so cool. But normally I wouldn't have done that. But I am also just like this human experience, like you're going through too. Like, yeah, we've been through evolutions. We've done a ton of shadow work. We've been in this industry and in this space for years and years compared to some people that are just awakening, but it doesn't mean that we're not human. Like Roxy,
No.
yeah, I stayed at Roxy's place, right? And she says to me, so Roxy's a friend of mine, for those of you that don't know who she is. She was like, holy shit, like I saw these dimensions to you this weekend because I came home fired up. I was like, that fucker, that, like who the fuck is
I'm
he?
sure. I'm sure.
Like I was the human, but still, like, it was a really cool experience to go through. But I have awareness, and that's
Right.
the thing. I have an awareness, and there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And that like literally you can't, it's like apples and oranges. You can't even compare. Like the people who are aware of that stuff, as opposed, because anybody who's triggered by something is going to immediately go into the ego if they don't have that awareness. And
Oh
part of
gosh.
the awakening process is having that awareness, and being aware of your traumas and your triggers is part of spiritual growth. It's just part of it. So, don't blame yourself if you aren't there yet. It's a process, it's a journey. Everyone takes time to get there. And it's just, there is no there.
Yeah.
Right? There's no getting there. There's no completing it. Right? There's no finish line. So, for those of you who are, kind of competition type A driven like myself, where you're like, oh, I gotta get to the finish line. No, there is no finish line. So it's a constant evolution. We're constantly evolving. So just like Colin was saying, myself, I too, get wrapped up in my human,
Yeah.
and even though I
Yeah.
know better, but gone are the days where I
Yeah.
used to blame myself because I used to do that. And
Yeah.
that's spiritual ego. Excuse me. I used to sit in my shit and be like, I should be more, I should be better. I know better than this. I shouldn't be doing this. Oh my God, I've been awake for like 20 years. Why is this still a problem? And you know what? In all honesty, spirit came in and was like, it just obviously had to be the right time,
Of
because
course.
everything happens in the right time,
Yeah.
because it's one of those things you go back and you're looking like, why didn't you tell me that like 10 years ago? It would have been helpful to know. And spirit's like, yeah, but you weren't ready to hear it then.
Yeah.
You
We
had to
wouldn't
go
have
through that
taken it in.
process.
Yeah.
Then now you're ready to hear it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Bastards.
They're not going to give cheat codes, right? So
No.
I'm sitting here, I'm like, oh. So you mean all this stuff that I'm doing to myself, making myself feel guilty and telling myself that I'm this bad spiritual person, really is just another aspect to my ego. And they're like, yeah. They're like, you think spirit sees you that way? I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know. They're like, no, of course not. They're like, you are whole, you are perfect, you are divine. Don't let your ego. And so that's the whole thing. My battle against the ego. And it's something that evolved with, evolution, and it's there to keep us safe. But do we need it? We really don't, especially going into fourth density heart center consciousness on this planet. We don't really need to. So we need to stop listening to it. But when you find, and this is I think the challenge for people who are awake right now, when you find and you see people behaving and acting from their ego,
Yeah.
not judging them, not holding them in a sense of guilt or blame,
Yep.
because they don't know what they're doing.
Yes.
You have to understand, if they are not awake, they literally have no other option but to operate from the ego.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I get
So it
it.
is not their fault.
Yeah.
So when you look at these people, because I used to, well, listen, this is a lesson for myself, because remember when the riots started happening
Yep.
during 2020? I was so judgmental. The
Yeah.
whole
I
entire time
know.
that was going on, I was like, those motherfuckers are burning down all this shit. I'm like, that's so wrong. That's so wrong. That's so wrong. And it really wasn't until like the following year that, because I kept struggling with it. I'm like, I shouldn't be so judgmental. I should be so judgmental. But there was no sense of like relief about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I still felt it. Like I was conflicted within myself. But then spirit came in, as spirit does, because spirit's the only one that can heal that shit. Spirit came in and was like, they're not at fault. They're just as much your brothers and sisters. They can only operate from the sense of consciousness of where they're at, and say they are only doing what they are capable of doing in the moment. And so, of course, like I think, who said it? Marianne Williamson, I think. I don't remember. The murderer has to murder.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they don't have any other choice.
Yeah.
Like they have to, because they think they're going to feel better because of
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah.
You know, they're chasing happiness just like everybody else. They're chasing happiness. They think that whatever they're doing is going to bring them happiness, and they just don't know any differently.
Yeah.
And so to have compassion,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and that's how I got a better hookup with my bro Jesus, because I used to have lots of hang up about religion, you know, and then all like I had all these epiphanies that happened like in the last 6 months, all these things that like lifted, like all these judgments I had around religion. And, you know, I had such a bad taste in my mouth for anything that said God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And I was all like, no, the source in the universe. And now I'm very much like, yeah, the Holy Spirit, the spirit that totally comes through and heals. And I mean, that's what heals, right? It is the Holy Spirit. It's
Yeah.
holy. We are holy. We are
Yeah.
spirit. You know, so I can now say that without having that judgment. But if it wasn't for spirit, I would never been able to do that, because I was trying to do it myself,
Of
right?
course.
Avatar was trying to be like, I'm not judgmental. Yeah, you are, bitch. So, but then spirit comes through and clears that out. And so now I have this wider, broader perspective, right? Where I'm like, oh no, everybody's only doing what they can. So when you're seeing all this shit go down, I can take a step back because I understand this now, right? And I have that peace in my heart, the peace of God in my heart. And I can say, they are only acting out what they're able to based on what their consciousness is at. So I'm not going to judge them. I'm going to love them. Forgiveness is the key to everything. And I think that is super important to pay attention to, even if you can't grasp it, even if you're trying to do it for yourself. If you ask spirit's help, say please, and you ask in earnest, please help me want to forgive. Please help me want to stop judging. I promise you, if you ask for it, and you ask in earnest, spirit will help you.
Yeah.
No matter where you are on your journey.
Yeah.
Period. Ask for help, because you as a person can't do it yourself.
No.
It's impossible for you to do it yourself. Ask for spirit's help. Spirit's waiting, right? Spirit's just waiting. Say, here I am.
I'm right here. I've always been here, you know?
Yep.
And it's definitely interesting. So there's twofold to this that I want to kind of bring forth is the soul's mission on earth. So we live in this duality, this purposefully positioned. That's why earth was created, for us to come in and learn and have experiences and remember the spiritual side and come out and bring that light into the world. And there's key players in this that are working in the shadow that bring in those experiences. Like you said, the guy who's murdering, right? His level of consciousness is only here, and he may never see any different in this life. And that was his soul's mission, potentially, to be at that vibration, to learn and feel and be in that energy field. And it's hard for us to comprehend this and understand it. And this whole judgment thing that you brought up, it is fucking hard for sure. Like to watch the shit going down in Canada and all the stuff moving through, and you're getting pissed off sometimes, like going, what the fuck? And I understood it a long time ago, where I was like, man, Justin Trudeau is doing his fucking job as a soul. Like he picked this soul's mission and he's fucking working that shit,
Right?
like, and he's owning it and he's stepping
He's
into
on
that.
it. Hey, with Joe Biden.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's really funny. I love Lions Not Sheep, the brand. And
Yeah, my husband does too. He loves
yeah,
them.
oh my gosh. And they sent me a free t-shirt with my tank tops the other day. And it's like, what is it? Let's go, Brandon. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited to wear this, even though I'm not an American, but I'm an American at heart for all freedoms.
That's
For
all
all
right. Listen,
people.
you can say that you can wear the Let's Go Brandon shirt.
Yeah, seriously, right?
My God. And that's the whole thing. People, that's the thing that people don't understand, that nothing is ever happening that isn't supposed to. Everything's happening intentionally. Yeah. This is all orchestrated. Everything's designed. It's all, this is the really beautiful thing. And because without getting too deep into theosophy, we all come to Earth. For those of us who have incarnated here, Earth is a place of choosing. The third dimension is a place of choosing, to choose whether you want to be service to self or service to others. Both choices are valid in the eyes of the Creator.
Right.
So regardless of whether you choose the shadow or you choose the light, both are valid choices. The thing is, you can only progress so far on the service to self path before you end up having to revert back to the light, because the Creator is nothing but light, but the shadow has to be there in order for the light to recognize itself. So it's necessary. It's a part of it just has to be. Like, you can't have an all white room, all white creature with white hair, white clothes, white shoes, and have them know what white is unless you have something contrasting. So contrast has to be present, and that's what shadow is. But it can only go so far. So the whole thing of like, oh my God, all this is the doomsday, da, 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 da. The dark is never going to win. Yeah. It was never going to win.
No,
it never was. It was like a byproduct of free will.
Yeah.
It really was. Yeah. The shadow side is a byproduct of free will, and the ego developed in that whole midst of evolution of the human species. So, it really is a byproduct, and it was kind of like this grand experiment. Okay, well, let's see if we let everybody forget, so they have the purest of choice. And that's why we forget when we come here. So we have that purity of choice. Do I want to serve self, or do I want to serve others? And 95% of everything, all of us are drawn to serving others. But there are few that are service to self, and you will see them if you look out in the world. And you can find those ones that are.
They're running countries, most of them right now.
Right? But the thing is, they are still your brothers and sisters.
Yes.
They still are, regardless of what their philosophy is, regardless of what their product. Doesn't mean you have to like them, but you can love them. And just know that they don't hold power over you. No one holds power over you. You are a sovereign being. No one holds power over you. Not the government, not any of this bullshit. And so whatever you want to take it to be, no one can take your peace, right? You may have to follow rules, you can't go streaking through the park or whatever. But I mean, society rules.
You could.
But I'm just saying that point being that you are a sovereign being. As far as negative energy, positive energy, no one has power over you. No one. You are free and sovereign. Your soul is here for a reason. You chose to come here, whether you came here with the intention of being here to watch the show or to participate in helping expedite things, like Colleen and I. Either way, you're here on purpose. And you're here at a very pivotal point in the history of the earth. To be able to be here as we're shifting this transition. And it is going to be a new earth. It is a new earth. We are going to a new, the consciousness is different. Everything is elevating. It's going to take time. So it's not, but the fun thing is it's just starting. So we're going through the growing pains, right? So it's going to take a few hundred years probably before we'll be part light body, part physical body, but that's where we're headed. Right. But all the shadow has to come up, and that's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing the shadow, and it's a motherfucker.
It's a motherfucker.
Because you got to think of all the millennia, centuries of darkness.
Yep. All of it. Because we haven't had this type, the time we're moving into hasn't been around since what we call the golden ages, where the mystic schools were literally known, and all of the light, they spoke light language on the earth and the purity of light. And I know that you and I are both work in that wheelhouse. Even the transmission yesterday from the seraphim white dragons that dropped in to serve in that circle, that's fucking beyond any, like, I've, like, they gave them their golden dragon light bodies so that they can move through earth experience quicker to do the work they're meant to do. Like, hello, that's not what people are fucking talking about right now. But the
Right.
12 people that were in the freaking circle yesterday got upgraded in fucking huge capacities, that their
Yeah, I need that
consciousness,
circle. I
yeah,
need that.
we'll get that, we'll get that over here. But like, I was like,
I need my dragon light buddy.
yeah, the shit dropping in, like, I'm just like, and that's why the dissonance. So that's why the people that can't fathom are fucking reacting and triggering ways for us to actually feel out. Like, and I needed to own that truth inside of me to go, no, this is me. And whether you get it or not, like, you go have a good time over here and you can keep watching from a distance, but I'm not coming back to Canada for a while. You're not going to see me, and the next time you see me, you may not even see me, because I'll be like, who the fuck knows what planet I'll be flying out of, like, I know. Bring it.
Sorry, have you seen one of my all-time favorite movies, being the Southern girl that I am, Talladega Nights?
No,
You haven't seen Talladega Nights?
no.
Oh my God! You have no frame of reference then for what I'm talking about. Like, now you see me? Now you don't.
Oh my, I'm gonna have to watch this.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, girl. Sweet babies. I cannot believe you haven't seen the movie. Okay, listen. It's about NASCAR racing. All
Oh,
right.
no wonder.
No, it's freaking hilarious. It's Will Ferrell.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Oh
like one
wait,
of my favorite movies. I quote it all the time.
I think
But
I've seen
he's
this
like,
movie.
that's why I was doing that. Now you see
Yeah.
me? Now you don't.
Oh my God. But I think I've seen this movie, but it was probably in the time where I used to get really high all the time. So, like, when you don't like fucking remember shit after you get high,
Oh,
like, that was probably, yeah.
oh
I'm
my
gonna have
God.
to,
It's
yeah,
fucking
you're fucking hilarious. Oh my God, I love you.
hilarious.
Oh man, so funny. I love to just shoot the shit on this podcast. Like, we go wherever we go and whatever. Like, there's
I
no
know. It's like we're talking
formality.
loops, man. It's like, woo, we're all over
Yeah,
the place.
let's chill the
Love it.
fuck out over here. So I always ask the question on this podcast. I think it's like an important one. Like, what does light warrior mean to you? Like, what does that mean in your energy field? Like, for yourself, but also for your opinion of the collective. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. Light warrior. I love it. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love that because really, it's a calling. It's a service,
Yeah.
right? It's a service. I don't want it to be like, I'm not singling people out, like being like, oh, I'm special, I'm this, I'm that. It's not a label,
No.
like, to be special. That's not it at all. It's an honor.
Mm.
It's a service to be like, I am here as a warrior of the light, like not a soldier,
Yeah.
not a general, a fucking warrior.
Yeah.
And the energy just alone in the word warrior has such a different connotation
Mm-hmm.
than any of the army, navy, whatever, those type of designations
Yeah.
for their personnel, right? Warrior is like tribal. Warrior is like original. Warrior is like all encompassing. Like, it is your purpose, it is your mission. It's not just something you train to do, it is who you are. Like, you are a fighter for that truth or whatever it is that you're fighting for. So if I am a warrior of the light, I am here fighting for the light. And that, which means everything I do is going to be to anchor light into this planet. That is my sole purpose. That is my mission, that I need to show the fuck up. It is not a thing I could back away from and say, oh, well, not today. No, it is 100%. I am all in. I am fighting to move this planet to its next evolution.
Mm.
Like my life depended on it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I am here to be of service to humanity. I am here to be of service to God, the creator, and to the polarity of light. Mm-hmm. So all of it. And that was my choosing, right? And I chose to do that when I incarnated here. And my specific mission, my specific purpose is to do it through my life, right? Through the life that I've led, so that I can have a unique perspective. Mm-hmm. It's like a twofold thing, right? So I gain perspective. So my soul gains perspective and polarity by going through these experiences that I can now teach and share with others. But part of the whole purpose is that I am a lighthouse. Like I am the lighthouse. I am here to share. I'm not here to push. I'm not here to convince. I'm not here to persuade. I am here to be a beacon of light, speaking the truth of source and anchoring in that energy of holy fuck, can you feel the angels in the room? I am like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we are here and we are here for this moment in time. Oh shit, I got goosebumps. We are just like really like we are here for it. We are here. And that is what light warrior is to me. And in a collective, I know there's many of us, and we're here, and all of us are really like our purpose really is just to evolve humanity forward. We're here to be of service. And I look in the world and I'm like, I can't help but feel compassion. I can't help but feel sorrow. And like, it just hurts to see people suffering. Because I'm like, you don't have to. You don't have to suffer. It's illusion. You're trapped in an illusion. Let me free you. I'm here to bring freedom.
Yep. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Braveheart, give me my broadsword.
I dropped my mic. Hang on. I dropped my mic.
It's worthy of a mic drop, I think.
I dropped my mic on purpose.
Worthy of a mic drop.
Mic drop right there. Fucking right. And I love this. And this is what's happening right now is the ownership of this light warrior energy that I see it. Like I keep getting visuals of like us right on the edge, and the collective is coming together. And our job is to step over so that those coming behind us can actually find where we are. And it's this courage energy moving through that we need to have the courage to speak our truth, the courage to launch the programs, the courage to step into our gifts. Yes, exactly. And it's really, really potent. And I love the warrior energy. And I keep getting, and obviously I'm in the middle, like it's like week 2 this week of the illicit program, the Light Warrior Unleashed program that will come back this year. I'm like, I know. And literally when I drop in, it's like they all the warriors from the past. Well, they're not really the past. We know that they're actually active still, but they show up in this unity of light. And one of the most amazing experiences they locked us into was this grounding cage to keep us in our bodies through this experience so that we can move the human through what is needed at this time. And it was like, oh, just the coolest shit's dropping in. Like, it's just like power.
Fucking incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. Power. It's so exciting. Yeah. Like, it's so freaking exciting. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not gonna go there.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be hours. It'll be hours later.
It is so exciting. And yesterday, even, all the Sophia's Ascended Masters from the Sophia Code, with the dragons, with all the ancestors and everybody that was there, I literally on my camera, there was a haze over me and I can move my hands and you would see the energy moving from my hands, and there's no haze on this camera now. Like it was like
that's freaking awesome.
It was the coolest shit ever. And when I came on, I went and I couldn't adjust the energy in this room holding space for this like transmission was like boom. It was
so freaking cool.
Craziest.
I love it.
And yesterday all the twin flames came in for those Ascended Masters. So I wanted to ask you about this because I think that this is important. And with the sacred union work that you do and the relational work, and I know you're well versed in twin flames, as I obviously am as well, because I've experienced my twin flame relationship.
Going through it.
I have it, and apparently it's still around me, and it always will be. But I've seen and heard from some twin flame experts, let's call it, that the twin flames are incarnated on Earth right now to be able to help move the energy of those two collective energies through for the healing of the planet. And there's more twin flames that are incarnated right now than there ever has been in the history of humanity. But I'd love to just hear your opinion about, because there's a lot of people that may not know about twin flames. And like, if you don't know about twin flames, go look it up, because we're going to go high level here, because I'm sure like Tonya will talk to you for like 500 hours about twin flame energy. But yeah, what are you seeing in the collective in connection with that? I just love to hear.
Yeah, the twin flame, and here's the thing. See, without having to go into too much backstory, you have to understand, when you look back through history, we have been heavily in the masculine. I mean, look at the patriarchy, right? Hollow. the wounded masculine.
Yes.
There's a huge shift. That pendulum is swung back and we are headed into the feminine again. Now, for decades, centuries, millennia, the feminine, the divine feminine has been pushed down, shoved aside, made to be wrong, made to be a witch, made to be dirty, made to be a seductress, made to be a temptress, right? The women have always been pushed down because of that energy. And it's the energy, right? It's the energy. I'm not talking about gender, I'm talking about the energy.
Yeah.
So there is a shift to more balance, right? So in order, we want to keep that pendulum nice in the middle, right? Between masculine and feminine. So in order to prevent, because what we had was like 10,000 years of pure, raw, fucking testosterone, male wounded energy.
Yeah. Yeah. Wounded.
That's what was
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And the shift is bringing it into the feminine. Now, the thing is, we don't want it to go all feminine either, right?
Yeah.
It needs to be balanced.
Yeah.
So the best way to balance is to have that twin flame, because the twin flame is all about balancing the masculine and the feminine. So it's the single soul that has the masculine and the feminine aspects. So when you bring masculine and feminine energy together, when they find each other as incarnate beings, they then, when they find each other and work together, hopefully to heal, because the purpose of like twin flame relationships are always tumultuous because they trigger wounds in each other constantly. So it's very passionate. For those of you who don't know, just like a brief synopsis of a twin flame relationship, that they're like going to be magnetically drawn to each other, like ridiculous chemistry, like ridiculous off the chain chemistry. But at the same time, they're going to trigger the fuck out of each other. So it's like that, almost like a love-hate relationship. Like there's some passion on one end, but yet like screaming and throwing fists in the next end, like ridiculous battles over triggers. But the purpose of it is so that they could heal. The purpose is so they could heal each other. And if you could see the wounds within each other and work together, that blends that energy. So it's a challenge. And highly evolved highly evolved souls are doing that twin flame journey here on this planet, because it is fucking hard. It is hard, especially in this wave that we have now of the energy and of the shadow coming up, because you have to not only recognize your triggers and the other person's triggers. You're dealing with two people. So it's like basically take everything we talked about for the shadow coming up for one person and double it. Now you got times two. But the thing is, it's so important because the masculine and the feminine are bringing balance. So it's going to help bring that balance so that we can heal the masculine, bring in the feminine, and that could be unity. And that's what we're looking for, unity consciousness. The masculine and feminine energies are really, really important right now. That's why there's so many twin flames right here. Incarnated in this lifetime is to bring that balance of energy.
And I love this perspective on it too, because it is, and it's the masculine and feminine within our own selves, as well as the masculine and feminine in the actual collective of the energies. And if the twin flames can get their shit together and actually do the healing and move through their healing, then their power and a unity.
That is potent juju.
Yeah.
That is.
And I'm, it's interesting from my own perspective and seeing this through, like I'm doing the work, but my twin flame is not doing the work. So therefore that relationship may never, ever get anywhere that it's like, I know there's space in between here, right? My guy's coming, that my guy that I'm supposed to be with long-term in this life to do, but I still feel like I'm going to pass with my twin flame. Like we're going to die together, in this life. If the free will fucking steps in and does the work.
I'm not gonna tell you though.
That's okay.
Downloads about that for you.
I'm not holding my breath for anything. I have no attachment to it.
No, it's good. It's good.
I understand.
But the thing is too, even if you're in a twin flame relationship and your one partner isn't doing the work. So say you are. The really interesting thing that I've seen, and this not that my sample size is huge, but out of the people that I've talked to,
Makes sense.
but out of the people I've talked to, the feminine aspect of the twin flame relationship are the ones who are doing the work, even if the masculine aren't. And that's okay though, because we need to bring a heaviness of the feminine in. So it kind of doesn't surprise me that there's more feminine energy doing that work to do that healing, because you almost have to bring a ton of feminine in to kind of counteract the huge sway of the masculine for where we were.
Yeah.
So even the twin flames that are together and only the feminine aspect is doing it, that is still valid, because you have to have that weightedness of the feminine energy to kind of bring that into balance. So it's almost like you need more feminine energy, and you still need the mix, but you need more feminine in order to bring this back around. Does that make sense? Am I what I'm talking about? Yeah.
No.
So it's kind of because it was so heavily weighted over here with masculine. So yes, we're bringing balance in, but we also need more feminine to make it in the middle.
To lock it down. Yeah. And it's accelerating through the men as well. Like we're seeing their feminine energies coming through, like in their intuition and their creative. And it's almost like we're in this dismantling part, and like not just in twin flame relationships, in all things. Like they're learning to listen to their heart, they're learning to step in, they're learning to speak their truth, they're learning to trust themselves in their intuitive flow too. And we're like the men that are awake right now are learning this balance within themselves and owning it. But we do need them still to hold their strength of masculinity and their purity of that light, because those of us that are in feminine form need that safety net to bring strength into us so we can keep moving and accelerating upwards and having the courage to, not that we need a man to do that with, but there's a pulse of energy that is the beneficial. When two can come together this way, then we can move quicker through things if we are both playing our role, and not playing, like being our role, being purity of who we are in the light. But yeah, we're watching it start to happen. And like, if you are a man listening to this podcast right now, I just want to emphasize, like, keep leaning in and trusting yourself that way. Keep doing the spiritual work and meditating and breathing or walking and whatever it is you're being drawn to. That, even if you're a man's man, it doesn't mean that you cannot also be intuitive. Like,
100%.
yeah. And I know that you obviously are in a relationship with a very man's man, which serves your safety almost to be you, right? Like,
yeah, no, it is. And it's so interesting too, because I know that's part of our contract. Like I know that's part of our contract, because I used to be hung up about it. And I'll be brief about this, but I used to be hung up about it. I was like, I was all, this is back in the day when I was like, oh, I should try to get him to wake up. I should try, when I thought it was my job.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. Yeah. It's not your job. I
didn't know any better.
Yeah.
And I was like trying to talk to him and trying to get him awake. And he was like, what? He thought it was cool. Like he thought it was cool that he used to call me his ghost whisperer. He's like, he thought it was cool. And he understands, he'll listen, and he supported me, always supported me. And then one day Spirit came to me and is like, yeah, he's not waking up in this lifetime. His purpose is to be the anchor for you.
Yeah.
He's your anchor. He's your protector.
Yeah.
He is here to protect you. Like he is keeping you safe. He's protecting you. He is doing the work. He is, being the provider while you get things going in your business, while you get things going in the world and all these things. He's like, that's his job. That's what he signed up for. Yeah. He's like, he's not here to be awake. He's here to anchor you.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right. Okay. Never mind then.
Yeah. Like I still feel like my guy will have some dynamics of spirituality. Like he'll get it, intuition, he'll meditate, he'll feel all that, and he may move through. And being in my life, he's going to activate a little bit, but I don't feel he'll ever be like, let's go channel dragons together, or can you speak light language to me? Like, like I just don't.
I mean, that's possible. Like, I'm just telling you, that was my contract.
Yeah.
That's Christopher, my husband, Christopher. Yeah. His contract is he's not awake. He's not going to be awake in this lifetime, but that's okay, because he is a very simple. He's like, I go to work, I come home, I spend time with my family, we go out and do stuff.
Yeah.
Simple guy. He's a Marine. He's like, protect my family. I'm a patriot. I'm gonna, keep you safe. And he's a gun guy. He's very, very adept. I mean, he's a Marine, obviously.
Yeah.
So, military, and he's very straightforward. He understands some of my world. I've talked to him about it, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
And he gets it, and his favorite thing is, because he's telepathic and he doesn't realize it.
Of course.
And he'll be like, all the time, we'll be like reading each other's thoughts, or I'll get up and I'll ask him a question. I'll be like, do you want some ice cream? He's like, I just sent that to you. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm like, he's like, you want to go to this restaurant? I'm like, oh, I picked it. I already sent it to you. Things like that, all the time. So we read each other's thoughts all the time and our energies. But as like overall view though, he doesn't quite get it. I mean, he knows that we're spirit. He knows that we're going, that we don't just exist in this body. He understands it intellectually.
Yes.
Does he get it in his heart? No, but that's
No,
okay. It doesn't
he
matter.
doesn't need to.
It doesn't matter. We still have an amazing relationship.
Yeah. And that's awesome. And that's the key thing too, is honoring everybody where they are.
Exactly.
Right. And
yeah, it doesn't mean he's not my soulmate, because he's not like there's a woo woo. When we met, we were perfect for each other for where I was at in my journey at that moment in time. And we've only progressed, and I've only learned more in my spiritual journey because of him. In spite of the fact that he's not even awake. So it's not like, oh, I have to have a spiritually awake partner to be on my spiritual journey. No, you don't, because you'd be surprised how much you will learn from that relationship, and how much it'll move you, grow you, and evolve your consciousness when your partner is not awake. It makes a huge difference, but that it was designed that way, right? We planned it. We came in this incarnation. So
yeah, it was neat to watch a friend of mine, when I stayed at her place over the last few days, with her boyfriend as well, who sort of believes but doesn't really believe, like consciously. He's like, you need to prove it to me to believe. And so we were all shooting the shit one night, and he says, well, I will become a believer if you go back to a past life and bring me back a Viking sword. Okay. So I'm trying to coach my girlfriend through how she could do this. So I'm like, no, dude, you could totally go back. So what you got to do is go back to that life, pick up the sword, feel the sword, bring back the energy of the sword, and then manifest it in the real time, because you're just moving it timelines. Like you can do this.
Yeah, time doesn't exist anyway.
Yeah. And she's like, how the fuck can I do this? I'm like, stop being in your head about it. Just visualize the energy. And the more energy you put to it, you see it there every day. It's going to come. She's like, he's gonna fucking shit if that happens. I go, dude, he wanted it. He wanted a fucking Viking sword from back like in the like warrior time.
That's so awesome.
Go fucking get it for him. Yeah, it's Roxy. Yeah.
I have a feeling.
Yeah, go get it for him. Go, and we had
right. That'd be awesome. I want to see it when she does.
Me too. I'm like, you out of anybody I know. Yeah, out of anybody I know, she could do this, because her availability to see the light codes and to actually see, like she could, like, this is going to be easy for her if she removes herself out of her human conscious mind, the 3D mind.
Right. We limit ourselves so much with our human consciousness. We think our consciousness is, we think our brain is like, what's up, but it's not.
It's not. It totally isn't.
Get out of that.
Yeah.
Again, totally my guides are always like, get out of your head, get in your heart, get out of your head, get in your heart.
Always. All the answers are right there in our hearts. And that's the thing that we forget. And it's not just about like send love into the world. It's like our soul resides in our heart.
Right. Your soul is there.
Everything.
Like, listen to your soul. Yeah. You want answers? Listen to your soul. It has all the answers. I tell people, lead with your soul. One of my very first spiritual mentors, her whole thing is lead with your soul. Let your soul lead you and guide you.
Yeah. It's a powerful place when you can understand what it means. And when you move out of this conscious mind and drop into your heart, all the answers are there. Everything. I had a girlfriend reach out to me yesterday actually and asked me about this situation that she was going through. And I said, our mind can only conceive a certain amount of solutions. That's it, because of our perception of life and what we've seen. So if you drop into your heart and ask the question, your heart is aligned with all the possibilities in the universal alignment. So you could grab all the answers you need through your heart that you couldn't even consciously think about. Right. And she's like, oh my God, I never thought about that. And I'm like, yeah, like it's all here. If we just fucking get out of here and keep dropping into here. And it doesn't mean that we diminish this experience we're in, because we have all these assets for a reason to fuck us up sometimes, and to allow us to grow through this experience 100%. We're in. But it's like, leading with that heart, leading with that. Is there anything else you feel like that's on your heart right now that you want to share into the collective of energy? I kind of want to pass you this baton, because I feel like we've hit quite a bit of amazing topics today that someone listening to this is going to be like,
complete. I think I would just, really, I feel incomplete. I feel like, if anything, I would just say, really just be kind to yourself and reach out. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need help. you know, but other than that,
Yeah, and you're not alone, you know,
I
like,
think I'm good.
yeah, you're not alone for sure. So
Yeah.
obviously we're gonna put all your info in the show notes so people can find you. But what do you got going on right now that may help serve some energy through this?
I have a new masterclass coming up called, it's called a breakup because it's broken.
Mm.
And it's about how to heal the heart, I'm going to be sharing like my 4 really practical energy techniques that I like to use to help people move through some of those deep emotions that are hard to get rid of, when you're feeling sadness and sorrow and grief, to move through some of those emotions. But I'm also going to be talking about how to get you in that place from, like, the whole premise of this workshop masterclass is to get you from crying in your pillow to get you singing, Gloria Gaynor style, "I Will Survive" on the karaoke mic, right? So we're going to be doing that, and it's going to be really awesome because I'm going to be doing live healings, like live in the class for 4 people. I'm going to be doing giveaways. I'm going to be giving away one of my journals and some freebies and some fun stuff. So I'm doing that, and then I am working on pulling together. I'm making a community, a new Facebook community. So I'm doing a Facebook group community, which I haven't gotten to yet, but I'm working on cultivating that, where I will be holding more live things there too, because it's really about, like I said, it's really about being like, where can I serve people? Where do people need me to serve?
Yeah.
Where do people need me to meet them where they're at?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of it is more like, I need more time as far as like just being live or just doing like classes and things like that. But I think I have a group program coming too. So, but for now, I have several master classes lined up over the next several months. But the next one is coming March 27th, and it's called A Breakup Because It's Broken.
I love this. And I know that you've got lots on the go in connection with support. So like if someone's hearing this podcast 6 months down the road, Tonya records them and sells her podcast. So if you're like, oh my God, I wish I was on that, or sells her master classes, not podcasts, but maybe you should sell those too. She sells her master classes outside of the live training. So you can always get access to that. But she's got so much going on in the world that you can just tap in, follow her on Instagram. A lot of her content goes there when you're promoting things. That's correct,
Most
right?
of my stuff's on Instagram, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Yeah.
like branch, but Instagram is still, I'm a whore for Instagram. I can't help it.
I know. I love Instagram
I
too.
love Instagram. That's my
I
favorite.
know. It's like my favorite as well. And
I
speaking of
know.
Instagram, like if you guys are feeling this, we would love a shout out. So I'm
Absolutely.
obviously in the movement of like the Light Warriors Unleashed movement and finding them so they can get this support, right? Like all the info Tonya dropped today, like is imperative for our movement. And if someone's feeling lost, our job and goal is to keep illuminating that light. So we want to find more. So if you're feeling this, share this podcast out, tag us on Instagram. We will share it as well and help us create that movement, right? Give us a review, send it to a friend, whatever you're feeling through that vibration and movement forward. So I know you're doing amazing work in the world, Tonya, and I know that every single day you just keep accelerating your light and movement, and I'm
Are you, soul
grateful.
sister?
Yeah, I'm grateful that I get to be connected in all the ways I get to be with you, and just grateful that we're even friends and in
I
this
know.
together.
You're one of my favorite peoples.
Oh, you're one of my favorite
I
peoples. I
love
love
you.
it. I love
I
you
love you.
too.
Even if you weren't a soul sister, you'd still be one of my favorite peoples.
Yeah, we're born on different planets, but that's okay. You know,
That's right.
we're all
Doesn't
in this
matter.
together.
We're soul family.
Yeah, we're all in this together. Well, guys, enjoy your life today, wherever you're up to, whatever you're doing. Anything else you'd like to finish off with, Tonya, before we say goodbye?
No, I'm good. I think the beach is calling my name.
Yes, you go. I'm actually headed to the beach today too.
Yeah.
Fucking
I
right.
gotta go
So
ground some
let's
energy,
go
go for a
clear
walk.
in some water. Yeah, I totally need
Yeah,
to walk
put
on
my
the
feet in
sand.
salt water. It's a little
Yeah,
cold. I'm gonna have to suck it up, but yeah.
totally agree with you. All right, right on. Well, everyone, we'll see you again on the next podcast. Have a great day.